So, Akia Eggleston. Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as the ID Go app. You might want to get those two things combined and make them into one. So, when it comes to Akia, 22-year-old fails to show up at her own baby shower, and which was planned by her. She was 8 months pregnant during that time, yes, back in 2017 when she went missing. How does that happen? How does that occur? You plan your own baby shower and yet you fail to show. What could be the possibilities, dear viewers? Wake up. So, Baltimore being the location, Maryland being the spot. 2017 once again was in fact the year on May 3rd. Akia Eggleston was last seen in Baltimore City. The area was the Inner Arbor area. Yes, the Inner Arbor area is where all took place, as in when she was last seen. She was pregnant, as I stated before, but she too was the mother of a 3-year-old at that time. Her family, they reported her missing after she didn't show up to her baby shower. No one has seen her or heard from her since then. Time flies, doesn't it, dear viewers? So from the time when people ask, well, she was last seen, when she was, and she didn't show up, the timing difference, as in the time span in between, 4 days for you, the viewer that's asking. 4 days. She was last seen, and then she didn't show up to the baby shower. Remember, time exists in all of this. 4 days, right? So, yeah. 4 days precisely between both dates. Akia's story is available for your viewing pleasure out there, viewers. It's in fact available. Her story is Akia's, right? I always want to say Ikea. That's not a joke, no, it's not a laughing matter, but for some unknown reason I always want to say Ikea and not Akia. But yes, her story, titled Has Akia Eggleston Vanished, is available for your viewing pleasure on ID Investigation Discovery. For those that don't know out there that want to check that out. Once again, the title is Akia Eggleston. The title is Has Akia Eggleston Vanished? I'm sorry. I'm stumbling over words every time. People that have been viewing me for a while know when I stumble over words because I move ahead too soon. So check your local listings on that. Akia, her living situation. The way she lived before, because yeah, you want to know that as well, right? That goes all together, because even a living situation can point in to say why she might be missing, right? So Akia's living situation involved her living with a roommate who was a single mother in a suburb outside of Baltimore, and that suburb being Cherry Hill. Akia's stepfather, Sean Wilkinson. Akia's stepfather admitted drugs and crime were seen taking place in the area of where Akia lived. You see what I'm saying? That's why I had to present that to you. When I go, sometimes I'll go off topic or go on a tangent, as I've been told. You go on these tangents, right? Even that's strategics. I'm a strategist, right? Because you want to elaborate that even... see, not everybody know that, and yet a lot of people in fact do, but not a lot of people, they in fact don't, right? Living situations, yet when anybody goes missing, disappear, vanish, yeah, that's the first thing you want to question. Well, how were they living? How were these people living? Because that can tell more about a person and the situation as them wanting to walk away, leave, or even possible abduction, right? You don't know who has been in the four walls of these people's homes, living environments, the conditions, and all the rest, right? You just don't. Even children have been known to, situations happen. Stranger danger is a little bit less than people, yes, perceive it to be or consider it to be, right? But yeah, once again, the stepfather admitted drugs and crime were seen being taking place in the area where she lived. That's why it's so vital, because you don't never know. That's not to say she was involved in any type of drugs or anything illegal. No, that's not to say that, right? That's not to say that for anyone. And yet you just don't know of with that. Who could, because when I go further into the story about her taking money out of the bank, several hundreds of dollars, right? That points into, because to live in an environment like that and people know that you've withdrew money out of a bank, and to say anybody could have had something to do with her disappearance. The crime rate in that, robbery, abduction, and all the rest, right? So her stepfather went on to say she had support. That's in the question of, well, say if she left willingly, or say if she was abducted, was there anything wrong in the support realm and level, right? Her stepfather once again went on to say she had support, and she was surrounded by people who were into helping one another, as in they were giving to one another when each one needed what they needed, right? It is said Akia was excited about being pregnant with her second child despite complications. Her pregnancy posed her all type of complications, and in fact did. Her stepfather stated Akia was placed on bed rest by doctors. She was not working at that time. She had issues at the time of not being able to move at times. Her pregnancy, because her pregnancy removed her from working, as well as placed her on bed rest by doctors, and at times she wasn't able to move, and also the baby caused her extreme pain because the baby was breached. Big term, right? But that has to stand question about too, in relation to her disappearance, because anytime a woman, see a person could be pregnant, have complications. Some people let that bypass their eyes. A person could be pregnant, have complications, right? Say be in a person's car, as it was stated that she rode in her friend's vehicle, right? But say if she got out and wanted to walk somewhere, or was somewhere, say in an area, you don't know what could, this story points every which way, because even pregnant women have been known to get sick. I said she was on bed rest, right? I mentioned that at times she couldn't move, or she was in extreme pains at times, right? All this is all documented by doctors, as well as the baby was breached, right? What happens if a pregnant woman take it upon herself to go walk out somewhere, just in the environment, and say fall or something unseen, and then die in the process? Because even people have been known to say, whatever the situation was, where their dead body laid, where say they wasn't found, even in wooded areas. There was a young guy that in fact fell off a cliff. He was into running and jogging and all the rest. He in fact fell off a cliff, and his mother and the search teams and all the rest, they went to go look, and they didn't find him. It came out later. Some people, it takes years, or 2 years, sometimes more, 10 years, right, for it to be found out that that individual fell off of something, or situations, right, that come out later that, oh, we didn't know that that person's body was over in that area, which happened to that young guy, pertaining to him being in a wooded area. He fell off a cliff. Search and rescue looked for him and everything, and they didn't even know that his remains was there. Body, remains, all in the rest, right? Seeding process, right? All that fits and goes together. But yeah, sometimes people, and I keep saying sometimes, that's my favorite word, right, term. But that has been known to happen where an individual say if you get sick, because even women try to say, if I'm pregnant and say I go to throw up or something, to say I might in fact go over into a bush to throw up or something. Because I'm a tomboy. If I get sick or I throw up, I'm going to throw up right where I am. I don't care. I don't care about looks. You see how I look, right? Because I'm nerdy. I don't really get into that. And yet prissy females oftentimes get into their looks, and they're told to, as in they're groomed to by parents and relatives, and make sure you look good and all the rest, right? Which is why if any of them even get sick in pregnancy, they in fact will want to go hide that they're in a bush or something. If I'm pregnant and I throw up, I want to not throw up because people will say that's gross. Look at how pretty she was, right? So that's to ask a question because she had went over somewhere and say threw up or something. You never know. And then her body is not found. Because for a story to have little information pertaining to who did what and why in relation to this vanishing and all the rest, right? That's to ask that too. I'm gonna be the first to ask that sort of thing, if others haven't already. Where does when you're pregnant and you're out in public and say you gotta throw up, vomit, whatever, right? Or even lay down. See what I'm saying? Who there need to be more faces on cameras, yes, questioning these sort of things. Pregnant women. Because to be in that much pain and know she couldn't move at times, as I say, did she go off somewhere and lay in pain? Well, I need to lay down or something, like, right? What could have been the situation? Even being close by home, you don't never know. Question that. Lay down and then not ever get back up. Say died and then the remains is out there and yet even police don't know. We don't know. I have to question for that. The furthering. So Akia put together the baby shower as I stated before. She did it herself and made it as pretty and elaborate as she could. Which is to it's in question 2 that pertaining to her disappearance. Because who plans an elaborate baby shower event and then, yes, doesn't show up? Who plans? This is the situation. It comes to this. Anytime there's not enough information on a person's suspicious activity goes in question, right? As in everything is to be questioned. I said everything's up for question, right? Not everything's up for grabs, and yet it is in the questions. If question was in a bag, right? Why plan a baby shower? Because that's why it looks suspicious, I'm saying. Why plan a baby shower as well as her taking money out of a bank, several hundreds of dollars? See, it looks suspicious once you take several $100s out of a bank, the withdrawal, and then you don't show up to your own baby shower. That's why the suspiciousness. What that, right? So why plan a baby shower, a very elaborate one once again, and then disappear? If she did this willingly, because even adults sometimes want to get away. You don't really know the full living conditions of even adults. Even teens have been known to run away, right? So, questioning if there was a willingness to want to run away, right? And possibly could have or maybe not, right? She could have been robbed or anything worse, right? Possibly killed. You don't know, right? Why not just disappear if she did want to leave? Why plan a baby shower as well as take out several hundreds of dollars? Why not just disappear? Because you even set your family up for failure and everybody else, your loved ones, if you plan something and then don't show, right? Some people have been known to do stuff like that. As in not baby showers, but other stuff, situations of I'm going to do this and then people looking for you and then you're not there, right? That cause all sadness with that. Yeah, because the taking out of money like that, several hundreds of dollars, is because to take out several hundreds of dollars is to ask, well, where were you going? There's a direction of taking out several hundreds of dollars, right? Yeah, the withdrawal of funds will always be questionable, as in the science is telling with that, right? A person is it's a possibility to be robbed at gunpoint, depending on the environment of, say, the bank. Even after being in the car with a friend, and the friend knew you took out several hundreds of dollars, because it was the friend that in fact told police. Akia's friend told police, and not Akia herself, that she took out several hundreds of dollars. See what I'm going with this? Even friends have been known to rob their friends once in the car seat. And if there's a bad outcome with that, as in a putting up a fight, as to say, even somebody could be killed in that. Because you don't know who's toting a gun, or who has anger issues, or even willing to fight and knock your lights out in the car over several hundreds of dollars. Friends have been known to do all type of things. Even family do all type of things, right? Let that sit in your brain for a second. So what happens once again when an individual withdraws several hundreds of dollars and then go missing? I want you, the viewer, to answer me back on that. Her not showing up to her own baby shower led to family members dropping by her home, yet no one had heard from Akia or seen her once again for the past 4 days. It was then again that she was reported missing by the family. So Akia's friend, when I question the friend, I will continue to question the friend, because see, the friend waited to come out and tell. Why everybody was looking for Akia and her whereabouts and missing, saying, well, where is she, right? It took police. Police had to actually find out that the friend had involvement with Akia in a vehicle. You see what I'm going with this? As in, the friend drove her once again to the bank and home, right? But the friend didn't come out willingly and say, yes, I drove her. Police had to find that out themselves. So once again, that friend stands questionable. I question the friend who gave Akia a ride home after the friend knew of and watched Akia make that several hundreds of dollars withdrawal. Because see, people that have never had before are willing to take and sometimes kill from people, even their own friends. I said that. Even in withdrawal. That's not to say that that individual is guilty. No, that's not to say that sort of thing. And yet, why does it take police to, yes, make the discovery as in, oh, well, her friend drove her home? Why didn't her friend tell us and her family? Why do we have to find out instead of the friend letting us know? I can understand a fear. I can understand that sort of thing. Say a friend, say, driving a person home, and then it's later detected that, oh, the person is missing. Well, I don't want anybody to know, because I don't want them to think that I'm shady or I did something, right? Or has something to do with that, which is why sometimes people don't say their involvement, because they don't know. Many people, in fact, fear law enforcement. But I still think it's something deeper than that. I, in fact, do. Because a friend that love and care for a friend, I said that before, would in fact go out on a limb and say, well, I drove her home, but I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know anything else after that. I'm in question myself. You would in fact out a level of care if you fear even law enforcement getting on your behind about something, even if you had nothing to do with it. You're still going to show a level of care to show, well, yeah, I was there. I showed enough to care to drive her home, because even care stands in driving someone home. And yet sometimes it does not, even if a person knew before that money was going to be involved. You don't know. Some people's friends, yeah, is not on the outlook all the time. Sometimes people can have bad intentions from the beginning, such as a robbery. Sometimes dumping of a body, right? So let me question you, dear viewer. Yes, viewers out there, leave a comment in the comment section. Would a friend do anything detrimental to harm a friend in their car if they knew their friend made a withdrawal of a 700s of dollars of a? That's hip talk. Don't let it get in the way of trying to understand. Once again, would a friend do anything detrimental to harm a friend in their own car if they knew their friend made a withdrawal of several hundreds of dollars? Several hundreds of dollars. What would a friend do knowing that took place? And knowing that the friend was driving the individual home, right? There's all type of ways of connecting the dots with even that, right? Because to go further and say, well, what were they cameras? Because see, the bank had cameras and the bank showed Akia there, and there was no issue with her being there. And yet, once somebody is inside of a vehicle, as I say, you never know then. The person is off the premises, and now anything can be lost and not found with that. The bank, in fact, tracked Akia's well-being while she was there on the premises, and yet there's mystery after that, as in no one being found, right? After a friend gets into another friend's vehicle, once money has taken place in the situation, you don't never know. I have in the past have told friends that I was friends with, I don't trust you. Some people have said, why would you say that? You think you're better? No, that ain't it. And it has always led to a very bad outcome. Because I have intuition and suspicious of, say, an individual that I felt was not for me. I'm the type of person, I'm very direct, blunt, and forward enough for me to say, I don't trust you. It's something about you I like, but don't like. But I don't like it because I don't trust you. Something is telling me you might in fact set me up in something. And it has never failed me, as in my intuition has never proven me wrong. It has in fact led me and guided me out of situations that I needed not be a part of. And led me into things that I needed to be. With that, true blue, dear discovery, with that. You never know who's for you or against you in friendship. As in, intuition is going to let you know, right? Yes, once again, it took the police determining Akia's friend drove Akia to the bank on May 3rd. Why wouldn't a friend just outright come and say? Because, see, that's what I don't get. That's where the soul story sounds. It's even making me tongue-tied. The story, that aspect right there. Investigators checked surveillance footage owned and operated by security. Investigators stated nothing on the video showed any harm or threat to Akia. She didn't appear rushed or stressed either. She didn't, none of that was she was calm and everything getting back into the vehicle, right? Still don't know what happened in that vehicle, because even to point much more further home, when I said the connecting the dots, it's to say, well, at home in Akia's environment, there was no surveillance tracking devices or anything such as footage enough to pick her up. There was, in fact, because look, you got friends that didn't, that's the thing. People in that environment said they hadn't seen her, right? It goes to show how much I know, even in being an example and questioning, did she ever arrive home to begin with? Because to step foot out of a car is to say possibly a likelihood somebody's gonna see you doing it, getting out of a vehicle. And if it's your friend, they're more likely gonna know the make and the model of the vehicle and possibly license plate if the friend has been in your environment, your living environment situation. People that be friends with people in the environment oftentimes will see the vehicle, know the make and model of the vehicle, license plate and all the rest, right? And yet nobody's seen her get out of her friend's vehicle. Because see, even old people, that's where it's questionable. Because even old people are nosy. So Either the friend knows more than they're putting on, or the friend is covering for Akia if Akia willingly left. Or there was a robbery that took place within that vehicle. And a dumped body, as in body gotten rid of. Let me point this in 3 directions. It's either Akia never made her way out that vehicle, as in a death took place and possibly a robbery, right? She more than likely didn't make it home because she's not there, right? And nobody seen her make her way out of the vehicle. Nobody seen her in the premises, or the friend is covering. So either a robbery took place and a death was involved of Akia, or that friend of Akia is in fact covering for her. Because do friends, do they or do they not only rob and kill their own friends over money because they think that somebody else got it better than them? And many friends have been known to feel they were entitled, right, to other people's money, their friends, right, even family members. But 2, have friends been known to cover for their friends if a friend wanted to willingly walk away from their home and their whole living situation, and even walk away from blood family? It's pointing in 2 directions. Either Akia wanted to leave and her friend covered that, and her friend dropped her off somewhere along with that several hundreds of dollars, or the friend was involved in something, the taking of money and robbery and scheming with that and possible death. See, FBI and all the rest, they're not going to come out and tell you all that, right? It gets in the way, because for FBI to come out and tell you too much of what I just said is to say even that criminal can run away and possibly over the border. I've said this on numerous occasions of videos of why FBI knows things as much as I do pertaining to why somebody is missing or haven't been found, and why they don't say on TV, on camera, at news conferences and all the rest, is because to put too much information out there is to say even the criminal is going to run and possibly over the border, Mexico or elsewhere, right? Some people have been known to run even as far as Japan, right? So let me pause for a second. All added to questions once Akia's friend mentioned that Akia had planned to buy a house. See, the friend came out and said all this, and Akia didn't come out herself and say it, right? Once again, all adds to questions because, and it did add to questioning because Akia's friend mentioned that Akia had planned to buy a house with the father of her unborn baby. That points in with the money. Because see, once somebody takes out a money, as in do a transaction such as a withdrawal from a bank, and police finds out that the friend was involved, yes, in taking the friend home that had the money, that's to say that friend that drove her home is going to be in question. So that friend, once again, that's where all the questions come through. That friend had mentioned that Akia had planned to buy a house with the father of her unborn baby. I'm skeptical of that. As in, why did the friend say that? Because if Akia was going to really buy a house with several hundreds of dollars, wouldn't she still be there? Or wouldn't she still be here? Or wouldn't she even be at that home? As in, her and the father of her unborn child that would have made its way and be alive today, that unborn child, right? If that was all true, the likelihood in that is to say Akia would have stayed where she was. So something is odd or something sketchy about the story or something with the friend. As in, it's off or something. It's wrong or something. Because they just don't. The friend is shady or something. I'm allowed to say that. I can say that. I got the rights to say that sort of thing. The friend, because see, why would it? Okay. Either the friend is shady or Akia, no, because see, the friend fits in. I'm going to in fact call that friend shady, because to wait that long to tell police after police had to find out that you were a part of the story, right? Is to say that the friend was in fact shady. So I don't care who feelings is hurt over that, even that individual, because it's real. That's real life. You don't wait to say whatever, because that even makes you appear even more shady, which is why I'm standing here, right? Asking. The friend, let's go back in this again. The friend mentioned that Akia had planned to buy a house. That involves money. Several hundreds of dollars, if not more, right? The friend is almost saying, let's try to figure this out. The friend is almost saying that the reason why Akia took the money out of the bank is because Akia was going to buy a house with the father of her unborn child, right? Did you get that? It's almost as if the friend is saying, once again, that the reason why Akia withdrew the money is because she was going to buy a house with the father of her unborn child. And yet that's off or something. Because either Akia wanted to go missing and she told her friend that, and yet still somewhere in that the friend still points in with that. Because to know that nobody seen Akia get out the car and make her way out of her friend's car, to say, well, what happened with that? As in the conclusion. Either Akia told her, if the friend didn't rob and kill Akia, then Akia willingly left and told. If the friend didn't rob Akia and kill her, then Akia willingly left, right? That could be a possibility. And say Akia told the friend the reason why she was taking out so much money is because she was going to buy a home with the father of her unborn child, right? But still, that friend still has to be covering or something for Akia. You see what I'm saying? Because the friend is too deep in this from the beginning. The friend is all the way, that's drama in itself. The friend is too deep in that. Because you knew that she took out money. Nobody seen her getting out your car. It's to say it's a cloud there, as in you can't see through. It's blurry. That's where it stick and stays. Why would that friend need to tell police, FBI, and all the rest that Akia was going to buy a house with the father of her unborn child, and then she's nowhere to be found? I need you, the viewers, to think about that. Shouts out to Cece as well. I know Cece loves stuff like this, right? The possibilities in that. Not only that, the father, the unborn baby, during that time, the unborn baby, the father, you want to know, the father was in fact Akia's stepfather's friend. Akia, see, secrets all around this. Akia was creeping with the friend of her stepfather. And not only that, the friend of her stepfather, they were in fact friends for 10 years or more, right? That's to say she's a secretive person, or was, private individual, right? The man Akia was seen behind her stepfather's back, that individual and her stepfather had been friends for over 10 years or more, which is why it was a shock to the stepfather in finding out his stepdaughter was having sex with his very own friend, right? The case is ongoing, and the individual who and was to be the father of the unborn child at that time, he was interviewed with nothing released. No information was released on him. No info or no findings have been released on him. Let me go back to that area where I questioned about that, because see, something is off in that. Was somebody there? Was somebody? Just pick that apart with your brains, dear viewers. I want you to think about that the planning baby shower, but more than anything, when the friend, because see, even people have been known to cover their own tracks when stuff like this go on. saying, well, she was took out money because she was gonna buy a house with the father of her unborn baby, right? Some people have been known to cover their tracks and that sort of thing. I keep saying it. Something is leery with even that. So there's no leads on her disappearance, and it's questionable if Akia could have gotten somewhere and say fallen sick or ill. There's questions of if she could have been abducted. That's always questionable, right? Anytime somebody goes missing or disappears, right? There haven't been any tips offered on Akia, and the reward being offered is set at $25,000. Such has been placed by the FBI. Stepfather of Akia pleaded to the public in helping to find his stepdaughter. Her body measurements at that time stood at 4 feet 11 inches, and her weight was around 100 pounds. She's black with black hair. And then the tattoos, cherries on the shoulder. Contact the Baltimore. Yes, the contact if you know anything. Contact the Baltimore City Homicide Field Office if you or anyone knows anything. That number is 410-265-8080. Once again, that's the Baltimore City Homicide Field Office. Then it's 410-265-8080. So questions I have. I've always got the goodie bag with even that, the questioning, right? Because it all looks suspicious. So, what could have been the reason for Akia withdrawing hundreds of dollars to only disappear? That's where we stand. Dear viewers out there, what do you think? You can leave a comment if you like to do that sort of thing, right? What could have been the reason for Akia withdrawing hundreds of dollars to then only disappear? Some other questions. Why didn't she tell the father of her unborn baby where she was headed before her disappearance if she left willingly? If this was a willingly ordeal, because people do go missing willingly, right? Why didn't she tell the father of her unborn baby where she was headed before her disappearance? Could Akia have had a boyfriend somewhere hidden in another state or something, right? Are people able to get on a flight, get on a plane and be unseen with several hundreds of dollars that they've taken out to go live somewhere with another lover somewhere, whether male or female or anything, and not be seen by the public, right? You want to in fact question that sort of thing if a person left willingly and say they weren't killed or anything. So did she leave willingly, or was she abducted and or robbed and killed, right? Could there have been any issues between the soon-to-be father at that time and Akia, despite Akia's friend expressing that Akia and that father of her unborn child, could there have been any issues between them, despite the friend expressing they were going to buy a house, right? Some things don't always look good, right? As in not said, right? Could the father of Akia's unborn child, could there have been issues between he and Akia, despite the friend saying that Akia was going to buy a house with him, and then she's nowhere to be found? Odd. Strange. What will be the reason for her keeping her relationship a secret from her stepfather? Because remember, they were friends. Who she was creeping with was in fact her father's friend. Her father's friend of 10 years or more, right? What will be the reason for her keeping her relationship a secret from her stepfather? Something about this story don't make sense at all. As in it don't, something is not right. Because see, look, To be the example is to go there thoroughly. I'm going to point out what's wrong with the story. Something about Akia's friend is off or something. Pay attention. Because if Akia was going to buy a house, Akia was supposedly, how do you go purchase a house? How do you be Akia? Let me play Akia. How am I Akia and I'm secretly having a relationship with a man that is my stepfather's friend of 10 years or more? How am I going to buy this house and share a house with a man that is my stepfather's friend and not think my stepfather is going to find out? The friend. Think about what I just said. How does a female buy a house with somebody, which is a man? How is she to be pregnant? Somewhere in this, even the stepfather was going to find out sooner or later. But some type of way, even the stepfather was shocked. He was shocked to even know that his stepdaughter was creeping with his friend of over 10 years, right? He was in shock to find out that she was pregnant. So that's to say that if they would have bought a house together, Akia and the father of her unborn child, if they would have bought a house together and say that baby would have been born, it's to say that the stepfather was going to find out anyway. And yet something is still wrong with the story pertaining to the house being bought. Because if Akia was as secretive as it shows that she was, it's to say she would have led up and told to her, even her stepfather, what the situation was. You can't buy a house and share a house with your stepfather's friend and then not think your stepfather is going to find out you two are laid up in bed and sharing a house together. So somebody lied in this situation. Somebody either lied to get something or gain something, such as a robbery and death, or Akia lied somewhere to willingly leave. It helps to use common sense. Because, see, people is not questioning even her stuff much more further as I am. What is going on with that friend over there? Of Akia's, I'm saying. Akia's friend has to know much more than even Akia's friend is saying. And not the father of her unborn baby at that time. No, that friend that drove her home from the bank, supposedly. So something is wrong with this whole unit. I don't get that. I'm gonna get pregnant. I'm not gonna tell my stepfather, that I'm creeping with his friend of 10 years or more. And I'm gonna buy a house and act like nothing is going on, that we ain't together. Because even friends have been known to visit. Maybe that would have been the secret. Maybe Akia would have tried to keep that a secret, as you know, oftentimes friends do visit other friends' homes. But even that father would want to come by Akia's house. How do you keep that a secret? As even parents have been known to pop up to their own children's homes. Something about that ain't right. I'll be able to see that, right? Okay, could there be even more secrets Akia didn't want anyone to know? Could any of Akia's secrets be why she's still missing in 2019? Dear viewers, ponder what I just said. If no killing took place, what type of secretive secrets did Akia withhold? If she's alive today, what is she still withholding? Because even that baby had to be born. And I'm going to speak about that in a little bit. So secrets revolve around Akia's story. Ponder again. And question her friend again, the one who drove her, home from the bank. So pregnant mothers. Let's get to the issue. Let's go back, because see, she had issues with pregnancy where at times she couldn't move. I repeated that how many times? Pregnant mothers and disappearance. Where are so many of these pregnant mothers disappearing to? And the reason of why? What is the reason behind that? Where does a pregnant woman go knowing she was having complications from the beginning? And say in having those complications, she might have in fact needed a C-section because of complications. Remember, I mentioned the baby was breached. Didn't I mention that? The baby was breached. So there's a high likelihood of something else, such as a C-section or something needing to take place. Because if not, the baby could die, or even she could have died, right? And you're not delivering a baby properly when there's an issue and complications such as what I spoke on, right? Something wrong about the story. Akia might in fact be gone with even that in a pronounced. Because to know that she could not move at times, to know she was on bed rest, right? To know the baby was breached, is to once again, is to say a cesarean. Yes. The C-section process with even that to help relieve all that. That helps to save lives, as it helps a baby to not die out quickly, and it helps, yes, a mother to not die out quickly. And yet, where do you disappear to not having those tools and utensils with even that? Who in their home and their right mind carry tools to deliver a baby by ways of C-section? You see what I'm going with this? Something is wrong. A C-section will more than likely have been the likelihood of the delivering of Akia's baby, and not just no natural born with that, because more likely she would have died in the process trying to deliver that baby if she was already in extreme pain and couldn't move as much. Doctors go right in and say we're going to deliver the child by ways of C-section. Because if we don't, her being young like this could pose even her death and the baby, right? And yet you can't be doing that on somebody's floor, in the kitchen, or on the kitchen table, or anywhere, ironing board or anything. You can't be doing all that type of stuff in somebody's home somewhere after a person has went missing. Because even death could stand in that in the home, I'm saying. C-section. Think about that, dear viewers. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you feel about that. But see, the woman was greatly in agony at times in her complications. Stuff like that had been known to lead to babies, stillborn babies and all the rest, right? Things not done right. So could Akia, could she have been murdered, yet no one is saying? Think about it. Could Akia have been murdered, yet no one is saying? Think about it. That's why this story is all over the place. That pregnancy. You can't go too far. That's what I'm trying to say. You cannot go too far, because see, even a emergency room would have, yes, sooner or later made its way to even her, whether she would have wanted to or not. Because even if she was sneaking or creeping anywhere willingly with, say, another lover, whether male, female, whatever, right? People get into all type of things. Even if Akia was doing that sort of thing, she was going through too much complications in relation to her pregnancy. Sometimes even men don't know how to deal with that sort of thing, because even blood can be gushing out of a pregnant woman. Vaginal fluid and all the rest, right? Women have been known to get very, very sick. A likelihood of dying even in pregnancy with that. You can't just see somebody, you get them, they go missing, you get them somewhere in a house or an apartment, and you know the setup, as in if she planned or plotted her disappearance, right? And something happened where she get very, very sick. That, I don't know. Tragedy can wait. It's a best bet to rush her to the emergency room. And that's where people in fact get caught when they go missing, right? So her disappearance stands in that she could have gotten sick in her friend's car, stopped breathing in relation to the pregnancy, and maybe the friend isn't telling. As in, some people have been known to die in other people's car, even in pregnancy, and say a friend get rid of the dead body because they don't want that on their hands, right? We don't know. Hopefully, the stepfather of Akia and say the stepfather's friend, which was the father of Akia's unborn child, hopefully those two individuals didn't have any issues between one another. Friends have been known to fall out, which is how people have been known to disappear, get killed, lose their lives, and all the rest. Friendships. Two males, a stepfather and a friend. That's the father of an unborn child, right? So, dear viewers, let me know what you think about that sort of thing. We're in closing. Her story is a mess. Most missing persons is, but the less you have to go on, and not knowing is to say that's how a story is even more messy. So, unlocked episodes. We are in fact on investigationdiscovery.com. The ID logo sits up in the far left corner. Live now is your worst nightmare. That's in fact what's taking place live now. Unlocked episodes. To receive an audio visual is to in fact click the play button for audio visual preview. You can add to watch later by clicking the plus sign. You are able to go through these yourself, dear viewer. Out. Don't do it. See that where that just popped up? Advertising is everywhere. I'm an advertiser myself, so I should in fact be used to it. But anytime it pops up like that I don't like stuff like that. But hopefully when you come on here yourself, it don't pop up like that. I have all type of stuff that pop up. Shouts out to Lieutenant Joe Kenda, as well as, yes, that's my dude, Paula. I have to shout them out because it's vital with that. Unlocked series previews as well. Recommended for you. This is usually where I say it. Shouts out to Lieutenant Joe Kenda as well as Paula, right? ID Go original series. Same thing. It's all type of goes for your viewing pleasure. See, to work in advertising is the best bet ever. I'm saying the wording of video, photo, all the rest, right? Some people would not be able to do this sort of thing. Crime feed news, crime feed. To gain access to the crime feed is a click right within here. You would in fact be directed to the outside. Yes, crimefeed.com, full of latest and the greatest. Full of murder and mayhem, I should say. To receive a newsletter from Investigation Discovery is to in fact type your email address in and click next, and you would in fact receive, yes, a newsletter. But yes, all this is in fact advertising. It always has been mass media, because to present to you the public, hello, even the news is advertising. Some people don't know that sort of thing. I have to call it out. To sit and tell a story or present anything in the form of a product at face, because that's what that is, even human life, as sad as it sounds. Some people don't like when I said, well, the recording industry, the music industry is in fact selling human life-like products, right? It's the same as what I'm doing on this camera, as well as what, yes, Investigation Discovery, and even on Discovery Channel, that's human life-like real-life products, right? There's people that don't agree with that, selling human life. People that in fact don't agree with that. You're selling human life. It's advertising. Truth says, as in by standing, sitting still, and all the rest, by saying this is in fact applauding myself, as well as Discovery, and even that is advertising. All of it is, because to see a face and see it there in video format, there we go again, and even that's popping up. Let me go back. To see a face that popped up by itself, which is spooky. That shows even Investigation Discovery got ghosts on the hands. Call the Ghostbusters. Yes, call the Ghostbusters. But even to see a face in video format on Investigation Discovery, right? TV show, as well as Discovery Channel, that's in fact advertising as well. Because the advertising comes before in the form of a trailer as well as after. To say, well, here's a premiere, and not only that, check your local listing as well as the date and the time and all that's presentable is in fact real life advertising. People they don't know that. They just think that they're watching a TV show. And yet selling real life at face is in fact part of the product. The selling power, staying power, yes, staying power, selling power, all the rest with that. Buyers and consumers. Did I click that already for you to see? To gain access within right here on last night, you would in fact have to provide who you're subscribed with to gain access to that. That's why it's in fact padlocked down. Even research is a product, because to be a scientist, NASA and all the rest, that's all advertising as well, because to go to the moon or go out to space and do it real good is to put it right out there in the news for all the public to see and view. Spaceship awareness, all that. Scientists doing research, well, we found out this in the conclusion, the cause and effect of this deadly disease or this or whatever, this has been solved or resolved. We got to put it out to the public. That's in fact real life advertising and research of the science, research and sciences and all the rest. People, they don't know that. That's why they have to be told. So I think that's all for today. Let me know what you think and feel. Like, share the video and all the rest. Enjoy your day, and I will in fact enjoy mine. And I'm gone. Dear viewers,